tuned because next up is Village Properties realtor David Charles Allen. He's also host of The Hop, that's Home Ownership Podcast, here to tell us all about real estate in Santa Barbara.
Welcome to The Hop. This is David Charles Allen, realtor at Village Properties in Santa Barbara, California, with my great friend and co-host Patty Teal. I'm doing wonderful today. Patty, how you doing?
I'm doing great, David. I just returned from Santa Barbara a few days ago, and I had such a great time, but I must say the sun never came out while I was there, and I hear that's all changed now.
Yeah, we're back to sunny skies, temperatures in the 70s, so it's really beautiful out here.
Oh, I didn't even catch a glimpse of the sun.
Yeah, we had some really packed in cloud days, so it's that June gloom for you.
Yeah, well, glad to hear that you're getting some sunshine.
Yeah, we're glad too. And then no real waves yet. So hopefully we get some waves with the sun. That would be even better.
Yeah, then it'll be just heaven on earth.
There you go. And then in terms of how the interest rates performed, we're at 6.12%, 125 for 30-year jumbo and 6.5 for 30-year conforming. So no change again since last week.
Okay.
So stayed pretty consistent. That's been a couple weeks now where it stayed like that. So interesting to see where it takes us. And then in terms of new listings, we had 45 new listings, 8 price changes, 30 that closed, 17 that went pending, 8 that were coming soon, and 3 that were back in the market. So that's a huge number in terms of new listings compared to pendings. I think that's the biggest discrepancy we've seen in years. So it's interesting. Maybe things are slowing down. It doesn't seem that way in terms of prices, but I think those entry-level homes are still selling really quickly and getting multiple offers. And then those kind of mid-high-end homes, they're maybe staying a little bit longer on the market.
Yeah, that makes sense, David. And of course, unlike other areas, Santa Barbara is unique that even the entry level homes, you have to have a really good income to be able to afford them because everything is definitely over $1 million.
Yeah, there's not one place in Santa Barbara where you can get a single family home for under $1 million.
Right. And maybe it's getting closer to 2 as your entry point. What would an entry level home cost these days?
It really depends on condition. You can see, there's been like ones you have to really gut and almost tear down for under $1 million. But anything you want to move into, we're looking at 1.1 if you're lucky, and then probably closer to 1.3. It really depends on what part of the town are you looking at.
Right. And does that include condos and townhomes in that pricing?
No, condos and townhomes, you can get under $1 million. There's still Miramonte condos that you can get, like the Highlands. They're under $1 million, 700 or 800.
Okay.
And so it really depends what size you need.
Yeah. And I've been in those Miramonte townhomes. They're nice.
Yeah, they're beautiful. There's not really a bad location in Santa Barbara, so to say.
That's true. There's not a bad side of town.
Any questions of the day for me?
Well, to mention something that I spotted when I was back there that was new to me, that they had bicycles for rent in various places. I thought that was kind of interesting. Is that something that the city is supplying?
No, I think it's a company that went through the city and said it was a good idea, and then they got in that way. So what happened was there was a bunch of those rentable scooters, and they were just like causing a havoc and just always all over the place. And I think Santa Barbara outlawed those and then allowed this other company to come in with the bikes. So it's like, we're getting rid of the scooters, but you can do the bikes, like something like that.
I see. Okay, well, that's interesting. And then, David, I always ask you the most difficult questions, and you always are so good at answering them. 2 things, actually. I was listening to the news, and the stock market, I guess, is quite a bit down, the New York Stock Exchange pricing on stocks. And also, how does the election affect people's decision to decide to shop for a home? Do they get to the point where they want to see which party gets in, or does that affect anything in your mind?
Election years are always the craziest years. You don't know what's going to happen. There's always something up, down. Just know that any election year, it's going to be crazy. That's basically the only kind of insight you should prepare yourself for. And again, just like what you're saying, people's opinions change on a spot. They're either waiting or they're not waiting. They want to get in or get out before a certain thing happens. There's no real way to predict it, but just expect
the unexpected. Is that what they say?
Expect everything to potentially change during an election year in terms of what we've become accustomed to.
And
So,
you think that makes people hold off or not on their decision to look for a home?
it can go either way. And I learned that phrase from someone I work with who's been in the business 40 years. So he's seen these cycles 10, 15 times already. And he's just like, yep, buckle your seatbelt. You just have no idea what's going to happen.
Well, at least it's not boring, is it?
Never boring, right?
Never boring.
Depends what you think boring is.
Yeah, well, I guess when things are unexpected, I wonder what's going to happen today. You can't get too bored. So anyway, well, thanks, David. Really, that was a very wise answer, I believe, because who knows? We just don't.
Yeah, who knows what's happening, and just everything's so political now that it really influences people's decisions as well. So
yeah, I kind of wish everything wasn't so political, but those are the times we're living in.
yeah, that's how it was built. So
yeah, exactly. So have to check on your fur babies. How are they all doing?
Everyone's doing really well. Mango's just back to eating 5 times a day, just loving life. And if you don't feed him enough, he'll just keep asking for it.
Ollie's like that too, especially for his favorite treats. He'll just start barking for them until you succumb. So he's doing a pretty good job of training me, I think.
Right?
Yeah. I'm pretty compliant. Anyway.
Yes.
Well, David, it's been great talking to you. I want to make sure if people are in the market to look for a home or to sell their home, that they know how to get a hold of you.
Yeah, my number is 805-617-9311, and my email is david@davidcharlesallen.com.
Well, as always, David, thank you so much. And we look forward to getting the latest news on real estate in Santa Barbara next week.
Sounds good, Pat. It's going to go next week.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.